Today's BTEC PE remote learning is on the Borg scale. So the Borg scale links back to your heart rate. So from your heart rate, it will increase the harder that you work and as soon as you start doing any exercise. Okay? So the Borg scale, there's some key information that you really need to know about this. First thing is that it ranges between 6 and 20. Okay? So as you can see on the left hand side, if you're working at 6, that is you working at a very, very light level, so not very intense. Whereas 20 is you working to your full maximum. So as you do some exercise, if someone asks you how intense you're working using the Borg scale, you would give yourself a number from 6 to 20, depending on how hard you think you are working. This number is what's called your RPE score. Now in the exam you could be asked what the definition of RPE is. And the definition of RPE is rate of perceived exertion. So perceived is the key word there because it's how hard you think you are working. So for us to give us a chance to do this, what I want you to do is I want you to run on the spot for 30 seconds. You then have to give yourself an RPE score of how hard you think that you worked during that 30 seconds. Remember, 6 is not really working at all, it's very, very, very light, where 20 is your maximum effort. Now this, we can link our RPE and our actual heart rate together. So from your RPE score, if you multiply that number by 10, that should equal your heart rate. So for example, if you give yourself an RPE score of 10, if you multiply 10 by 10, that means your heart rate should be currently at 100 beats per minute. So now we're going to see if we can get our RPE to match what our actual heart rate is. So, can you run on the spot again for another 30 seconds? Give yourself an RPE score, remembering that 6 is not really working at all, where 20 is giving your most intense and maximum effort. Okay? Multiply that number by 10, and this should be an estimate of your heart rate. So then find your pulse, count for 30 seconds, and multiply that score by 2. Do your scores match? Okay. Can you write these down on a piece of paper or on a mini whiteboard if you have one, and take a picture and send it in so we can see if your RP matches your current heart rate? Now in the exam you could be given a 2-mark question that would look a little bit like this, that's all based on different Borg scale ratings and heart rate scores. So the question is, if 2 people perform the multi-stage fitness test, which you may also know as the bleep test, and if you're a little bit unsure on this, look back at the previous remote learning about fitness testing for aerobic endurance. But these 2 people perform the multi-stage fitness test and achieve the same score of 11, but both rate the test differently. Which person has worked harder and why? So person 1 has given an RPE score of 10, whereas person 2 has given an RPE score of 16. I need you to write down your answer for this, explaining why you think person 1 or person 2 worked hardest and why. So the things you need to consider is their RPE scores, and the fact that they both got a score of 11. So what could this tell you about how hard they think they worked? Once you've written an answer to this question, take a screenshot of the photo and submit it through Classroom.